Hello, everyone. Welcome to our English Live today. My name is David Cantu. In case you didn't recognize me, Laura, my sister, typically helps us with the English Lives, and she's the one who speaks with you guys most of the week, most Mondays, in fact. My name again is David Cantu. Today, I will be giving you this live presentation where I will be talking about how to win private scholarships for college. If you don't know how to look for these scholarships, if you don't know where to start, then you've come to the right place. Over the next 30 or 45 minutes, depending on how many questions we get at the end, I will explain to you what you can start doing, whether you are in middle school, high school, or even if you are already in college, or if you're the parent of one of these students, to maximize your odds of winning private scholarships, okay? And I will be explaining the different types of scholarships, merit-based versus need-based. All that will be covered throughout this live. Please share this with other people who might need it. And if you don't follow us yet in our social media accounts, our tag is Best College Aid USA. It is missing the USA at the end, but those are our accounts, our social media accounts in English. We also have them in Spanish without the USA, but you don't have to follow that if you do not speak Spanish. Again, if you want to watch our lives in our other social media platforms, feel free to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. I will be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time in English. So you can take a screenshot of this slide and subscribe and follow Best College Aid so that you do not miss out on any of this information. Okay, before we begin, if you want to share where you're joining from, if you are a parent or a student, and if you are a parent, you can tell us where what grade your students are in. And if you're a student, you can also share what grade you're in. That way, these lives can be much more interactive, and it's not just me talking. I like to engage with other students and other parents. I know most students right now are in class. Maybe they're at home in a hybrid program where they have school online, or they go once or twice a week to in-class classes. But if you want to share that with us before we get started, again, today we will be talking about how to win private scholarships. And in fact, if you didn't know what Best College Aid is and who we are, my name again is David Cantu. I am one of the founders of Best College Aid, the leading college planning platform in the US. My siblings and I, Laura perhaps has mentioned it during our other live streams, we managed to win more than $500,000 in aid and scholarship, and now we teach other parents and students how to do that through our step-by-step online course, Best College Aid, which includes all of our digital courses, what we learned from our own private college counselors, what I learned when I work in a financial aid office, and our experiences. We packaged all that into a course, and we also include benefits like an ACT online prep account, online support, a private community for students. If you want to learn more about that, you can visit bestcollegeaid.com and get started with your own college planning journey and get started to maximize your odds of getting into great colleges with scholarships. With that out of the way, I see that there's no one in the chat except for Laura, who's telling, again, don't forget to ask questions. At the end of the live stream, I will be answering them. If you joined late, we will post this replay in our YouTube and Facebook page. So again, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow Best College Aid if you're watching us on Facebook, because we are live in both of the platforms, okay? All right, well, I see that there are no introductions today, so I will just go ahead and get started with the presentation, how to win private scholarships for college, okay? Some water there. All right, and again, at the end, I will be answering all the questions, okay? First of all, what you need to do, or what you need to know, is that private scholarships can help avoid student debt, okay? Student debt is the fastest debt category that is growing in the United States. If you watched our webinar, which the link is below this video, you will learn that after mortgages, student debt is the second highest type of debt in the US. I think it's mortgages, then it's student loans, then it's credit cards, and then car payments. So student loans is a very serious matter, and that's why a lot of people want to cancel student debt, but they have not reached an agreement with Congress and all those institutions who are responsible for giving out the loans. But not to bore you with all that, what I'm trying to share with you is that student scholarships, private scholarships, can help reduce the amount of debt you or your student could take. And when I say you, I mean parents. Parents also take loans for their students' education. They're called Parent Plus loans, or private loans that you could take and co-sign with your students. So it is a parent problem as well. A lot of parents think it's just a student problem, but it's in fact a parent and student problem. On average, a student owes $38,000 in student loans. This was in 2020, and I got this from Forbes. We read that over the weekend, and it was something I wanted to share with you all. So now that you know that private scholarships can help reduce the amount of debt, another thing I wanted to share with you is that when you look for private scholarships, a lot of students get discouraged and leave a lot of money on the table. In fact, there is more than $6 billion available in private scholarships for undergraduate students. So undergraduate students, again, that is students who after high school or after a 2-year associate's degree want to go to college and get a bachelor's degree, whether it's a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts. That's undergraduate. Anything after that is a postgraduate professional degree, okay? But anyways, so there's $6 billion available in private scholarships. And last year, according to the National Scholarship Providers Association, around $100 million in scholarships went unclaimed. And that happens every year. And that's just private scholarships. I don't even want to don't get me started with institutional aid or federal aid, state aid that goes unclaimed. That's even more money that gets left on the table. Now, why do students leave money on the table? Why do parents not know that they have the right to claim all these aid? Simply because they just don't know that they would have qualified, or they simply don't apply to these programs that offer these private scholarships. And throughout this live, I will share with you how you can start applying for them, even if you are in middle school. In fact, if you win a scholarship when you're in middle school, what the program will do is hold that money so that when you are a senior already admitted into a university, the program will give the money to the college and the college will then distribute it to you. So the money is yours even if you win it in middle school 4 or 5 years before. But there's not that many scholarships for middle schoolers. Obviously, when you're a junior and a senior, you will have more opportunities to apply, but you can start applying early on and you can continue to apply when you are a student already enrolled in the university. So with that being said, don't leave money on the table. Know that private scholarships can help reduce student loans and the amount of debt the student and the parent could take. So private scholarships, again, a great way to get aid for college. And there are also, I mentioned it and Laura's probably mentioned it in the lives, there are 4 types of financial aid and scholarships available to students. The first one is federal aid and federal scholarship, but let's call it federal aid. To qualify for federal aid, all you will need to do is fill out the FAFSA every year before you enroll into a 4-year college, and you have to complete some other requisites. I forgot the word. You have to complete some requirements, to get. I just did my live in Spanish, so I'm thinking in Spanish right now, so please bear with me. But anyways, you will have to fill out the FAFSA to qualify for federal aid, and you will then be eligible for Pell Grants. You'll be eligible for work study. You'll be able for federal student loans, which are low interest loans, and those are better than private loans. You'll also be eligible for federal tax credits, but you can qualify for those even if you just pay your taxes or if your parents pay your taxes, which students, a lot of these terms will be very new to a 16-year-old. So that's why we recommend here at Best College Shade that parents and students work together as a team, because it is a team effort. The parents who help, in my experience and what I have learned after almost 3 years in this business, is that parents who work together with their students are the ones who end up sending them to Ivy Leagues and who end up sending them to the best colleges. And then those students end up getting the better jobs. So again, if you start working together and if you support your children, they'll do better than most other students who just do it by themselves. And that's just my opinion. You can disagree, but that's what I've seen year after year. All right. Anyways, so that's federal aid. And there's also, institutional aid and scholarships. Okay, this one is super important. And this is what we at Best College Aid want to highlight, because in our experience, after my 3 siblings and I, there's 4 of us, we managed to win more than $500,000 in aid and scholarships. So 75% of these of this $500,000 that we earned was due to was thanks to institutional aid and scholarships. I was a swimmer in college. I also had a presidential scholarship, a Marist grant. That's the school that I went to, Marist College. You could see the diploma here and the other. Maybe you cannot see the flag down there, but anyways, I went to Marist. Laura also went to Marist, and she also got a theater scholarship, a academic scholarship, a institutional grant. Francisco went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Also got a full ride, and also got a lot of institutional aid as an out-of-state student. So if you know this, if you're from out of state, if you're not from North Carolina, it's very hard to get in. And he managed to get in, and he managed to get a lot of aid, institutional aid. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I want you to understand, that the important thing is not to, everything's important, don't get me wrong, but the priority is to look for generous colleges that will satisfy your financial need, as well as the academic and social needs of the student. But ultimately, what you want is a school that can give you aid and scholarship, and that is what we teach in Best College Aid. Simple financial literacy that everyone should know and that every high school should teach. But for some reason, they don't. So we decided to do it by ourselves. And so far, we've helped a lot of people find great universities, generous colleges, and, well, we've helped a lot of families send their students to college. That is what Best College Aid is for. So institutional aid, again, grants that the school can give. Some schools used to give some low interest loans. They were called the Perkin loans. That program, I think, is not available anymore. But for the most part, you will get scholarships, grants, work study. There's also institutional work study. So if you don't qualify for federal work study, you can get a job with the school through their institutional work study program. And that one is great because a lot of students that qualify for federal work study won't even apply for the job. So if you really want to just have a part-time job at school, like Laura managed to do, like I managed to do, you'll get $300 to $400 depending on the wage and the amount of hours you work every other week, every 15 days. And that's some money that you can use for your own personal expenses, to perhaps pay off some loans if you want to start paying off loans while you're in college. Again, that money is for you, and it's just a great thing to do, because believe me, when you are in college, you will have a lot of time. And this is coming from a student athlete who was already swimming 20 plus hours a week and working and doing school. So you'll have time, believe me. All right. So the next type of aid and scholarship is state scholarships. My siblings and I did not go, with the exception of the oldest one, but it was a private school and he didn't apply for state aid. But we didn't really apply to state scholarships, and we didn't win state scholarships, and we still managed to get full rights to our universities. If you want to go to an in-state school, let's say you're from Texas and you want to stay in Texas, then apply for state scholarships. We have students who are from California and they applied for state aid because they managed to fulfill the requirements. So state aid is a great way to get aid and scholarships if you plan on staying within your state. Okay, it's another type of aid and scholarship that you can get. And what we will be talking about today, as you already know, is private scholarships. Right? How to get private scholarships, where to look for, how to make this process simple. What are those no essay scholarships? Is it really a scam? All that you do need to know ahead of time, because it can save you some time and a lot of effort. Believe me, it's a lot of students just don't know how to look for these, and it's important to know. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so again, what are private scholarships? Who awards private scholarships? And it's pretty simple. They are offered by They're again one of the four different types of aid and scholarships available to students, and they're offered by individuals, foundations, or by private organizations, right? So, what's an example of an individual? LeBron James can give out a scholarship if he feels like it, right? Or Jeff and Melinda Bezos, they have their own. Not Jeff and Melinda, sorry, that's Bill and Melinda Gates, right? They are the ones who they have their foundation and they give out scholarships. There's also nonprofits that can give out scholarships. I think MasterCard Foundation have a nonprofit that gives out scholarships. So again, that's who gives out these type of scholarships. And from the same source as I mentioned earlier, the National Scholarship Providers Association, in the last 10 years, the number of private scholarships has actually increased by 45%. And I was talking about this earlier in my Spanish live, how the schools are getting more and more expensive. They're actually, I think in 1978, 4-year college education was under 10 grand, the 4 years, or under 20. And now a 4-year education can cost up to $300,000 at some schools like the University of Chicago, which costs $80,000 a year. So that's about $320,000 if you don't get any aid and scholarships. But most people will get some sort of aid, so that's not important. The point is, it's getting very, very expensive, and the more expensive the school gets, if it's a generous college, like I mentioned, the more expensive it gets, the more aid they'll also give, okay? And again, what we want to teach students inside Best College Aid is how to look for these generous colleges and universities, so that their list of colleges, the 8 to 12 universities they will be sending out applications to, they have to be generous, they have to be good colleges, they have to satisfy their academics, their social, and the financial needs of the parents who, for the most part, will be the ones paying for that education, all right? So again, know that there's opportunities out there, and know that there's a lot of private scholarships that offer aid, and you do not want to be one of those students like last year when they left $100 million on the table. You do not want to leave your chunk of that on the table, okay? All right? Now I want to get into the meaty, gritty part of this presentation, of this live. Actually give you tips on how to look for private scholarships using online search engines. Okay, this is what we recommend inside Best College Aid, and what our students are doing today so that they can maximize their odds of getting scholarships for college. And I want to share my screen with you guys so that you can see what I'm referring to. Okay, so here is the website. This is one of the websites that we recommend. In fact, if you are already a member of Best College Aid, we have a tutorial on how to create these account, right? So you go to fastweb.com. I'm going to zoom in. I don't know why this keyboard never works. But anyways, if you haven't, you can create an account. You'll select log in. And then once you're already there, you'll be able to look for scholarships. And what you will have to do is create your profile, see scholarship matches, and then you will have to apply, okay? And this is one of the many search engines that we recommend inside Best College Aid. Another scholarship that we recommend, another scholarship search engine, is College Board, and they have a great website where you can look for colleges. You can register for the SAT, register for the PSAT. You can also select and look at AP courses. Maybe not select them, but you'll be able to look at your score if you take the test at the end of the year. You'll also be able to, again, look for colleges and look for scholarships. Once you create your profile, all you have to do is sign in. And again, look, this website alone offers $4 billion of scholarships every year. There's over 6,000 programs. You can match with these scholarships by selecting the filters. There's interest, situations, affiliations, citizenship, professions, and after you select those filters, you'll be able to narrow down that list, right? There's 6,000 programs. Not all of them will be for you. I'll go over examples in the next slide. but these are some of the websites that we recommend. And if you're not familiar with any of these, don't worry, there will be available for you. All you have to do is create a profile, and the job will get much, much simpler, believe me. All right. So now that we got this out of the way, the next point is super important, because I was talking about matching and filters, and that's what, thanks to technology, we can sort of not struggle as much as other generations. I'm sure that a lot of you, when you went through this process, a lot of parents who went through this process years ago didn't have these search engines, and having them can really facilitate the searching process. Okay, so the second recommendation I want to give is to make sure that you satisfy the requirements. Okay, some of these programs will have a GPA requirement, maybe a unweighted or a weighted GPA. If you don't know the difference between the two, don't worry. We have a lesson inside Best College Aid that goes over the differences between weighted and unweighted and how to improve both. There's also extracurricular activities. Some private scholarships will only offer scholarships to those who do a specific extracurricular activity. It could be theater, it could be art, it could be like drawing. It could be swimming. I was a swimmer in college, although typically you won't get private scholarships for sports. You will have to get institutional aid to get a sports athletic scholarship. But there's some programs that can give you that aid, and there's got to be. I know that some people do karate or martial arts when they are in high school, but there's no sport. There's no NCAA. There's wrestling, but there's no martial arts in Division 1, 2, or 3 college. So there are private scholarships for those students who do make some sort of martial art while they are in high school. There's also requirements for students who satisfy specific circumstances. Like in my case, when I was in high school, the one private scholarship that I won was due to the fact it was basically a relocation committee, and they offered it was a $2,000 scholarship. It wasn't that big, but it was great because I didn't have to pay for the meal plan and part of the housing that I would have otherwise paid had I not gotten that scholarship my freshman year, because every freshman had to get a meal plan, and that was kind of expensive. But thanks to that scholarship, I didn't pay for the meal plan. But anyways, that program required people to have relocated in the past, 2 years. And it just so happened that I had moved from a different state into Florida. And I spoke about that in my essay. I spoke about how it was a relocation committee, so they basically dealt with real estate. So I was thinking, okay, let me just explain how the real estate person helped my dad find a school that was in a good district, and a good school district, that is. And anyways, I satisfied that requirement, and I won the scholarship. Okay. Excuse me. There we go. So that's a specific requirement or a specific circumstance. In their previous live, someone talked about how her student had a condition. Well, there are scholarships for students who have specific conditions, medical or another type of condition. So there's also scholarships for that. And there's also scholarships for those who belong to a specific organization, right? I was showing this earlier. A lot of parents often ask me, what's the difference between NHS and the national, what is it? NHS versus NSHSS. I don't know if you guys have NHS versus. There we go. This is the website. A lot of people ask, is this a scam? And even they have a website where it says, is this a scam? But this is the organization. You belong to this organization. You pay the fee that they charge, and then after you pay the fee, there you have it. You can apply for a scholarship, and you can see it's a $1,500 scholarship that was in 2021. So if you belong to an organization like this one, and there's other organizations like these, you will have access to private scholarships that are specific to that organization. Okay, I'm not endorsing this organization, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand that these are some of the requirements that when you create your profile in the websites that I showed you, you'll be able to automatically filter through the ones that require these affiliation to the organization, right? Anyways, so that's another one. There's also community service hours. I know that when I was here in Florida, in my county, you have to have 100 community service hours to graduate. And if you want to get a state aid, if you want to be part of I think they call it the Florida Medallion Scholarship, which is part of the state program. It's not really private, but bear with me. You have to have over 120 hours. And that's just an example for a requirement for state aid, but there's also private scholarships that will require you to have 200 community service hours or even more or even less. But the point is that that's another requirement that you perhaps will need to complete. And you don't have to check out all the boxes. It could just be one, or it could just be two out of these requirements that I decided to share with you. But the good thing about leveraging the technology and using the search engines is that you will get a list already that's already personalized for you, okay? And finally, similar to GPA requirements, which is an academic requirement, there's also SAT and ACT scores requirements. There's got to be like a minimum that you have to get to qualify for this aid. And not all of them will ask for all of that, okay? So I see that, well, actually, yeah, there's Jenna in the chat saying hello. Thank you for joining, and I hope that this information is of value to you. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much some of the requirements. There could be more. The website and the search engines will help you figure this out. I just want you to be aware of the requirements. And if you have something, like if you play a sport, if you are part of a club, if you are part of an organization, if you have a good GPA, leverage this and look for specific scholarships that apply to your specific needs, okay? And finally, the most important thing, like with anything, you have to stay organized. You have to create your private scholarship checklist. If you are already a Best College Aid member, you can download our scholarship planner. That's just for members. You'll log into your Best College Aid account and you'll be able to download this planner. We also have a college search planner and we have a budgeting planner for college students, but that's all inside our Best College Aid membership. If you want to learn more about that, you can visit the link below this video and watch our free webinar, which includes even more tips than this. And at the end, we do give an offer for a full paid program, but I'll talk about that later in this live. Now, after you create your private scholarship checklist, or after you download our private scholarship checklist, you will want to include all the requirements that we didn't include already there for you. That is deadlines, whether it requires an essay, a supplemental essay, test scores, all that. You can organize it however you want in the columns, and then you'll be able to track your progress, okay? So that is the final tip that we wanted to share with you to help you find private scholarships. I wanted to give you the most value possible in the least amount of time. I know it's only a Monday and that some of you might be busy with work or whatnot, but I hope that this information was of value to you. If you want to learn even more tips on how to look for scholarships and how to maximize financial aid, down below if you're watching on YouTube, or up here if you're on Facebook, it could be up or down, there's a link to our free webinar that which is called the 6 Steps to Go to College with Scholarships. This webinar has much more information about how, and it is completely free, about how you can maximize, again, your odds of winning scholarships. I'll leave the link down below. If you don't see the link, you can just go to bestcollegeaid.com and you'll be able to register through our website as well. It's 45 minutes. I think it's even less, might be 40 minutes. And there's a lot of value, a lot of things that your high school counselors will not share with you. I share them there. And again, it is free, so feel free to watch it, right? And while the offer, not an offer, but you can watch it now if you wish. But while that's on the table, I will go ahead and answer some of the questions that were asked during this live. I know that Jenna joined, said hello. Hi, Jenna. Thank you for joining. And nice to see David. Thank you. Nice to see you again. It's a beautiful dog. Our dog Milo needs a friend. We were thinking about getting a lab or a golden, but we still haven't decided. Maybe it will be a beagle as well. Who knows? And again, if you have any questions, don't forget to ask them here in the chat. I will go over your questions and give you examples if you need. So, and I see that, I think that's pretty much all the comments in the chat. Again, we will be live tomorrow in our Instagram and TikTok accounts. Well, we actually cannot go live on TikTok yet until we get to, I think, 1,000 followers. We do have the amount of followers in our Spanish accounts, but we haven't gotten there yet in our English account. So feel free to follow at Best College Shade USA on TikTok. On Instagram, we do go live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you know any other parents who might need this information, or any students who might need this information, please feel free to share that with them so that they do not miss out on all this. Because again, I remember when I was in high school, a lot of them didn't really go over this stuff, and it's not rocket science, but it is a little confusing. And the hardest thing is finding something that already has it organized for you. And that's why we created Best College Shade, so that you can follow our step-by-step blueprint of how we managed to win over, again, my siblings and I, we won full rights to our colleges and universities. And now we teach other parents how to do it. And we've actually managed to do so successfully. Again, you can hear more about their stories in our webinar. The link is below. We don't talk about that until the end. So the value goes first, and then we tell you how you can do it too. Watch it if you wish. If not, then just don't forget to subscribe. We will be live again next week, and we will be posting more videos so that we can help you find the right colleges and pay less for them. My name is David Cantu. Thanks for joining, and I hope to see you again next week. Don't forget to watch that webinar. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.